Hey guys, this is Brian Jones from Valhalla Academy in Frankfort, Kentucky. And this is a follow-up to my rant and rave on my take on bullying. The bullying video got a lot of views. I appreciate everybody that was watching the video. Mostly positive, but I did have some criticisms, and I want to do two things in this. First of all, I got a little bit excited. I mean, it is a rant, obviously, and I feel strongly about the subject. So I used some profanity there, which may have actually prevented some people from sharing it with people that need to hear it. So I'm going to sort of restate what I said without all the profanity in a calmer way, and also I'm going to touch on some of the criticisms that people brought up in the comment section, both on YouTube and on Facebook and places like that. So first of all, my point was with bullying is that force or violence or whatever you want to call it, basically fighting, physical contact, physical conflict, is a part of the human condition, and we can't remake human nature. Okay, it's been with us as long as there's been people. The animal kingdom has it, and bullying is sort of a part of the human condition as well. Animals will pick on one another. They'll establish some sort of pecking order. There's typically a leader in a group and all that sort of thing. And humans aren't that far away from that, especially when they're kids. Kids want to be popular, so they're going to look for somebody in an out group and pick on that kid. And sometimes this is going to resort in actual physical threats or physical violence. And my point in that video is that kids need to have, and adults, but kids need to develop very early a sense of assertiveness, draw some lines in the sand, understand that they are in possession of their own body, in possession of their own safety, and that they need to take up for themselves. And getting kids into contact sports or combat sports, and I mentioned boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, kickboxing, all of these sports which allow people to exert themselves physically against an opponent, basically a sublimated form of violence, or it's a controlled form of violence. They understand that they can hurt people. Now, this does two things. Typically, this doesn't cause people to become bullies, because you don't really get good at a contact sport without developing some sense of responsibility and humility. So, learning the contact sports not only gives you the ability to fight back and do well and win and protect yourself or protect a third party, an innocent person, but it also gives you the confidence to project that you can do that if you have to somebody who is bullying you. So it has both a physical and a psychological deterrent effect. You no longer seem, act, or are a victim. Okay? And if you have to, then and the person attacks you, then you fight back. Now, with the problem with it is this: there's a lot of this anti-bullying stuff is attempting to remake human nature. I mean, little kids are going to fight. Big kids are going to fight. Adults are going to fight. There's no way to really prevent people from getting into confrontations. What we can do is to try to teach them a sense of responsibility, teach them the skills they need to protect themselves and other people, and not penalize them for doing things that are legitimate. There are times and places where violence is legitimate. Okay? So when I say violence, I mean force. I've heard a couple people get me on semantics. Violence is violence. Violence can be directed in a right way and a wrong way. It is value free. Okay? If it's directed towards somebody who doesn't deserve it, then it's illegitimate violence. It's an improper use of force. It's assault, however you want to define that. If it is not, then it's something that should be encouraged. You should use force against somebody who is aggressing against you or aggressing against somebody who can't protect themselves. Okay, now on to a little bit of the criticisms. At no point in that did I say that violence was the answer to every problem or the preferred answer to any problem, except for actual physical threats in close proximity or actual physical violence. I don't advocate kids going around hitting people for calling them names. The problem with the bullying, and a friend of mine described this as bullying being this iceberg with violence at the very top of it, that there's layers and layers and layers. There's social bullying and teasing and name calling and rumor. And basically what's happened is all of these terms, all of these things, we've put every conceivable action that a kid could do to another kid that we don't like and lumped it together as bullying, which I don't think is the case. Even so far as to say that, you know, adults can bully kids. No, that's child abuse. That's not bullying. That's an entirely different animal, and I was not talking about that at all. Okay? I think that kids should have not just the skills to protect themselves from immediate violence, the assertiveness to ward off violence, but also they should have resources, the people to talk to. Okay? I know that this is a bigger issue than what I was talking about was a piece of it, okay? But I don't think that bullying should include every single possible antisocial behavior that a kid could have. If we do, we come up with a meaningless concept. So, get your kids enrolled in something. If you're a parent, get your kids enrolled in something that's going to teach them to carry themselves well, to protect other people, make sure that they have the responsibility to use their abilities in the appropriate manner. Okay, you don't want to you don't want to get a trained bully, because if they don't stand up for themselves when they're kids, they're going to let people bully them throughout life. And you see all the time, and I think a lot of times parents maybe never stood up for themselves, and they become victims. Okay, we're creating a society of victims where we run and tell somebody. Well, just like a teacher can't protect you from all the bullies at school, the police can't protect you from all the bullies in the real world. Lawyers can't protect you from all the bullies. I mean, you have to assert yourself. You have to stand up for yourself, and you have to learn that lesson early. If you read back through some of the comments on all the forums, there were stories after stories after stories where people were telling me that they fought back. And sometimes they didn't win, okay? Sometimes they took a beating in fighting back. But that person gained a respect, and the people that saw that gained a respect for them. And there's something that clicked in their head where they realized that they could fight back, and it changed their lives forever. Okay? Whereas if they would have just been submissive and taken it, would not have done that. Okay? So, again, a calmer video. This is something that's a safe for work video. No profanity was used. If you still don't agree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I'm open to discussion. Okay? So again, Brian Jones, Valhalla Academy in Frankfort, Kentucky. I'll see you next time.